The heroin trade in Colombia is not what it once was. The government claims the decline in poppy production is the result of their interdiction efforts. But many poppy fields have just moved farther north, to Mexico, where opium production went up 50% last year. Mexican cartels have taken over the heroin trade, processing poppy into a purer form of heroin called China White, the stuff Colombia is known for. Now, almost all of the heroin seized in this country is being smuggled across the US-Mexico border. To increase their market share of heroin, the Mexican cartels imported skilled workers from Colombia. Sources arranged for us to meet two of them. In the drug business, they're known as cooks. They asked us to protect their identities.
Why did the cartels in Mexico want you to go there to cook heroin?
Ellos querían como aprender algo de nosotros, cómo uno trabajaba químico, si utilizaban los mismos o no.
Pues ellos le preguntaban a uno medidas y todo cantidades.
Allá me ubicaron en un rancho, lo llaman ellos, que era donde tenían la cocina. Ahí me llevaban la mercancía y yo ahí hacía todo el proceso.
They say the cartels offered to pay them $1,500 a kilo. That's 3 times what they earned in Colombia.
Did you taste your product?
No, nunca, yo nunca.
¿Y tú también?
No, yo en el caso mío tampoco, porque yo sabía qué materiales eran los que utilizaban. Eran venenosos.
They say they use toxic ingredients like ammonia, acetone, and hydrochloric acid.
I just want to show you this video of a family in Vermont that we've been following. 5 out of 6 of their kids are addicts. So you'll see Justin, he injects heroin.
Makes me sick to my stomach.
How do you feel when you see that?
Uno se siente muy mal, uno ya mira el daño que hace uno a la sociedad, ¿no?
Bueno, en este negocio uno no piensa sino en el lucro, en las ganancias que puedan haber, más no el daño que uno pueda hacer a otra persona.
It may be because of cooks like them that the DEA is now having trouble telling the difference between Mexican and Colombian heroin. Figuring out where heroin is coming from is part of the reason the DEA was collecting poppy samples in Colombia. Back in the States, the damage is clear. In 2013, deaths from opiate and heroin overdoses was more than 16,000. That's the population of Rutland, Vermont.
Hey, Justin. Hey, how are you, Doc?
In the spring of 2014, Justin Bemis got the call and entered Dr. Mark Logan's treatment program.
So, how's it going?
Things have been, well,
He's been participating in therapy groups, frequent urine drug screens, frequent check-ins, and by all appearances, he seems to be doing very well. I'm concerned about that long term and looking for warning signs. You know, eye contact is one of the biggest ones.
So when you're asking that question, do you have cravings? Have you been using?
Yeah, I'm wanting him to look at me. Yeah.
The last time we saw you, you had track marks in your arms. You'd self-described as a full-blown heroin addict. And what's changed?
I'm probably a little more pleasurable to be around.
When I sat down with Justin that summer, he looked like a completely different person. The scars from his old habit gone.
I remember when you showed us your hands, and you can see now that they're healed. They haven't been used in that way in a long time.
I mean, I have a hard time even remembering like why, like the grasp it has on you. It's
Justin was taking Suboxone daily. As part of his treatment program, he had to meet with Dr. Logan and attend weekly group meetings.
It's about time I take my I have my other half dose. Yeah, so it's just like a thin.
Just that little thing?
Well, that's a little less than half of one.
Justin has to be on this prescription drug for at least 18 months. But for him, anything is better than heroin. For his parents, Art and Linda, they're just happy to have their son back.
I had picked him up from one of his meetings, and I just kind of looked at him, and he said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "You're smiling." I mean, really, I hadn't seen him really smile.
In years, really. Yeah. I mean, it's been a long grind.
But recovery is a long and often unsuccessful fight. more than half of patients on Suboxone relapse within 2 years.
Does that scare you?
No, they always say relapse is part of recovery. You know, that's not my philosophy. When I say I will never go back to that life, I don't care what anyone says. You can see me in 25 years and I will have not touched an opiate. Like, that's the end for me in that life. I will not use again.
Coming up,
we never thought we'd see the amounts that are coming into Vermont. Now, if somebody has a kilo of raw, unpackaged heroin, that's a lot of heroin, and that's a big change in 2 years.